So here we have the MV Agusta. This is the 1090 Corsa. It's an extreme pleasure to be able to drive this bike because it's pretty darn rare and way over the budget I ever would expect to spend on a motorcycle when it was new. $22,000 in 2014 plus your import fees. Out the door you'd expect to be paying somewhere around $30,000 for this motorcycle. Why? Well, it has the top of the line Olin shocks on it, front and rear, coated forks. You can see they look gold there. The top of the line Brembo brakes. Everything on this bike is, say, top of the line. Directional, super lightweight wheels. Just every little aspect of it. You go down to the kickstand, which is engraved with the MV logo on it, if you can see that there. You go to even engine cases, the rear sets, just every little aspect of this. The levers that come on this bike are logoed and are the breakaway type. The grips even have the logo on it. If you were to farkle out a bike with every little doodad you possibly could, this would be it. Steering dampener already included. Adjustable steering damper. Let's see. Just kind of going around this bike though, it is absolutely gorgeous. It has these built-in handholds here, very clever. Exhaust is sort of like a piece of artwork. Looks like a musical instrument and actually sounds like it. It doesn't sound like a tuba or anything. It just, it sounds awesome though. Amazing sounding bike right off the showroom floor. The paint is so gorgeous, and I don't know, if you can see this on film, but it is just so thick looking, so deep looking. The seat, which is a custom stitched seat, actual leather, beautiful. Now, if you want to take a passenger with you, you're sort of out of luck because there is no back seat. You could probably get one, and it does have the frame mounts to put passenger pegs, but this does not come with it. Headlight. This is a gorgeous headlight on it. Anyways, enough about the bike. It's not enough about the bike. The perimeter frame is absolutely gorgeous. Really beautiful paint work on it. They make the most beautiful bikes. They sound amazing too. And let's see how it rides. I certainly hope that my helmet doesn't make too much noise so you can't hear the bike as we go, but we're going to give it a try, see if you can hear this thing. This bike has 1,611 miles on it. I think it sat in somebody's living room for quite some time. Let's go ahead and give it a ride. It's absolutely fast. Normally I get full on the throttle, and that's maybe half throttle. I don't know, 3/4 throttle maybe. I certainly wasn't opening it up. The front wheel would just come off the ground if I did that. It is super fast. That 1090 motor is, and it's a 4-cylinder, so really smooth, real, what they call linear power. Let me go ahead and kick it up a few gears. So at 55 miles an hour, we're still at a respectful, let's see, 50, I'm gonna go to 4,000 RPM is really right around 57 miles an hour, or something like 58 miles an hour. So it's not lugging along, but it's 4-cylinder. They like to run a little bit higher in the RPM range. Now, at 60 miles an hour in top gear, if I get on it, it still pulls really hard. Not like a V-twin hard at that low of RPM, But you shift it down a couple, and this bike just takes off. I'm not sure if you can hear that exhaust. Probably too loud. But I give it a little too much gas front end, it'll just come right up off the ground. Now, how is it? It's around handling. Very smooth. This suspension works beautifully. This is a top of the line Olin, so I'd expect it. It really holds the line really well. That steering dampener I actually have turned all the way off right now. And it doesn't, on this smooth road, it doesn't feel like it needs it at all. You just point where you want it to go, and it's right there. Really well balanced bike. Hey, here we go over this bridge. Has a little bit of a bump in it. See how it goes. I can feel the bump. Let me get a bit smoother twisties up here. Bring it out a little. It's, you know, just super smooth. And this bike, you know, it's a naked bike, so it's a little bit more upright. But it feels like it handles like a full-on sport bike. Rear sets are pretty high, so you're not going to drag your feet on anything. With those light wheels, you can change your course anytime during a corner, like up here, down here, over here. You really just, you know, put the line wherever you want it. But it seems to hold the line pretty well too. As smooth as this power is, things seem to come up pretty quick on you because you just don't realize you might be going faster than you think. I'm gonna read this sign here because we've got what are the quarantine? I can't even see the sign. I gotta get it in front of it. Let's see here. Day use and campground closed. No swimming. Day use and campground closed. No swimming. No day use, no nothing. Just kind of closed. This COVID is closing everything down. So this suspension's very adjustable. So you've got, because it's the Olin's and it is top of the line, you have compression, you've got rebound, you've got that front and rear. You can preload, the preload front and rear I believe is adjustable, and yes it is, which is super awesome. Right now this bike sits a little bit soft in the back for me. I did not adjust the suspension, I just brought it out the way it is. And the front is a little bit, the front is probably right, the back is a bit soft. So I'll probably readjust that. And God, this tank is so beautiful. Man, oh man. What a gorgeous bike. I'm not sure, you know, if I had this bike, I'd probably put it in my living room. It's so beautiful. And if you don't like the color scheme, it's not really the color scheme and all that, it's just how beautiful the paint is. It's all the attention to detail, and then for it to work so well. You know, this is the Ferrari of motorcycles for sure. You got your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris, and then you've got your MV Agusta. There's not much that competes at that level of detail on bikes. And I'm not saying that to diss other bikes, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not sure there's a market to go that far, you know, or that heavy of a market to go that far in detail on bikes. People like to add their own things to bikes, so they don't expect it to be a Lamborghini or a Ferrari type bike. But man, if you want one, this is it. You got Ferrari taste, Lamborghini taste, this is the bike for you. Handle with any bike. And actually, I didn't even think about how comfortable is this bike, and it is super comfortable. This seat is nice and flat, and then it's got a really nice foam in it, so it's super comfortable. I really think this would be an all-day ride, no problem. The riding position is a bit further over than some of the naked bikes, but certainly a lot higher up than, say, a full-on sport bike or a race bike. Dash layout's good. The mirrors are a little bit close in. I can see around myself, but I really gotta, I pull in my elbow to take a look around because my elbow's kind of right in the mirror. And so to be able to see right behind me, I'll just pull my elbow in and look in the mirror, and then I can see back. I can see traffic side to side, no problem, but like directly behind me, I've got to pull my elbow in. So it's a good sized mirror though. Ergonomics, I'm 6 foot. I have a 33-inch inseam, 33 to 34. And although the foot pegs are pretty high, it doesn't feel too tight. And the bars are out far enough that it's not cramped. Yet it feels like a pretty small, nimble bike. And I put it up in top gear and it's quiet. You can hear the exhaust, but it's pretty quiet. So I could ride all day and it wouldn't be any kind of droning sound. And then when you get on it, it just has this beautiful sound. It's not raw and loud, it's just this super awesome sound. I mean, it just sounds like, again, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini coming down the road, you know, that Aston Martin or that, you know, it's just like the exhaust note, you know, they spent a lot of time getting it right. And it's a beautiful handling bike. I could put many, many miles on this thing. It's amazing. It's only got 1,620 miles now. I think I would put that on it in one trip, because it's comfortable enough for that. Even so, the brake reservoirs, if you can see down here, both the clutch and brake reservoir are monogrammed with MV Agusta. That's something, you know, you normally buy extra on a bike. You go, okay, I'm gonna get that extra piece. It has a really interesting triple clamp. Yeah, just so high, everything's so high end on this bike. It's just really nice touches on everything. The attention to detail is massive. Just awesome. It rides really nice. At slow speeds, this bike is so well balanced that I can pull up to stoplights. Well, but let's say a stop sign. I can pull up the stop sign, and I don't have to put my foot down. I can come to a complete stop and then go. It just feels so balanced that you can just almost sit there for a second or two. If you're, you know, a road bike rider that does that all the time, you'd probably just, even at a stoplight. Okay. I just feel like I never have to put my foot down. Let's hear that sound again. I cannot get full throttle without that front end coming off the ground. Holy smokes! You just you cannot give full throttle in first gear. I'm leaning forward and the front end just coming right up. And I still haven't gotten full on the throttle. I cannot get wide open throttle. It'll just loop right out. It is just so fast. Oh my God. Oh man. The first gear, I just start opening that throttle up, and I was probably about 3/4, and all of a sudden the front end it's off the ground, just starting to leave the ground at about half throttle, and at 3/4 throttle, it's just gonna, I mean, you have no choice. Second gear, I get about 3/4 throttle, that front end's just off the ground again. Not trying to goose it, just giving steady throttle, but it just comes right up. It is a very fast motorcycle. Wow. Now, what do you expect to pay for a bike? So, $22,000 new. There's very few of them out there. Doing a search, I'm looking around and I'm finding them for about $11,000 to $12,000 with 20 to 25,000 miles on them. I don't know, you know, what do you expect to pay for a bike like this with 1,600 miles on it? You know, I know when this video's out, it's probably too late. On this one, will be in our shop at about 10,000 because we just turn bikes over. We don't, you know, even though it's a special bike, you know, we price bikes, you know, we get it for whatever price. We up it by about 500 bucks and sell them, and we just try to turn over bikes as fast as we can. So this will probably sell for about 10,000, but you know, I'd say even at 11,000 bucks, if you can find one with low miles, and low miles, 20,000 miles is not that much. You may want one with less, but they're very good bikes. And you know, I'd probably spend 11,000 on it. I think that'd be fine. The quality is just so much. You couldn't buy all these parts for that, that's for sure. And if I bought another bike and tried to put all these parts on it or make it equal to this, it's going to cost me more than that. I don't know what would I buy? I mean, the Aprilia Turono, if I could find a 2014, it's going to end up costing me more by the time I try to do this stuff to it for sure. Even if I bought, I mean, I couldn't even buy a Suzuki GSX S1000 for, let's say, $5,000. If I could find one for that, $7,000. I would still need to put forks on it, rear shock on it, and then I'd be at 20,000 bucks. I mean, it really is a good deal. Even at the asking price when they came out, it's a really good deal because of how much the extras you're getting. And if you're planning on doing that kind of stuff to the bike, you're better off having them do it because it's going to be less money. But if you're not, they do make a smaller version of this bike, which is I forget what they are. There's the 800 Brutal, and it doesn't have the forks, it doesn't have the steering dampener, it doesn't have all the extras, it doesn't have the power, but it is a MV Agusta. And you can get into one of those for about 8,000. But if I get this for 10 or 11, All day long, man, all day long. And I think about it, I spent $11,000 on my Husqvarna 701. I could have got this. Oh my. I mean, I couldn't take this off-road. Well, I wouldn't. I could, I guess. But that just seems nuts. It's a really good, an awesome bike at the price, I think. Now, trying to buy a Corsa today, I think they are in the $30,000 range. I don't know. I haven't really looked them up. Somebody can correct me down below. But this is the Corsa from 2014. 1090. Amazing power. It is so smooth. I think you could just roll up a wheelie in, 80, 90 miles an hour and not thinking anything of it. You might not even know that front wheel's off the ground. It's so smooth. You'll know. And it's just so flickable. I'm gonna say, as far as weight wise and how this bike feels, it feels like a 600. It is that light and compact that you do not feel like it's that big of a bike at all. I'd say the 650s feel like they're heavier than this. My KTM 1290 Duke feels way heavier than this. Just for the feeling of how does it feel, right? And this feels light and compact like a 600. And it is a 1090. Actually, if I were deaf and I couldn't hear this thing, it feels as light as some of the 250s I've ridden. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments on that, but I've ridden a lot of the 250s, 300s, and 400s lately because they're pretty cool bikes, man. And they're a lot of fun, and it's not as intimidating to ride as a big displacement motorcycle. As far as feeling goes, those newer bikes feel like a bigger bike, and this larger bike feels like a smaller bike, and so it actually feels, it's probably lighter though. It certainly feels it. And smooth, buttery smooth. Oh, I can't get over it. It's an awesome bike, man. On the power side, the torque is not the V-twin torque. It's the 4-cylinder type of torque. So torquey motor for a 4-cylinder. Pulling off from stoplights, you can feel that torque. It does not have like that, feel like it would ever stall or anything. So it's some of the bikes, especially in the 600 class, feel like they would stall if you didn't give it a little extra gas. But this does not. The 4-cylinder has enough torque. And this big of a motor has lots of torque. And then once you get up to that, get those RPMs up, man, say goodbye. Say hello to my little friend. It is an amazing bike. And I tell you what, you pull up anywhere on this bike, and you get respect, man. It is so dang gorgeous. And who has an MV Agusta, and then who of those people have a Corsa? Almost none. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the MV Agusta Corsa 1090. Boom.